Good morning, everyone. My name is John. Most of you have had the opportunity to speak with me on LinkedIn and or you've heard me in some discussions either in onboarding or within the Discord chats or just on LinkedIn in general. So what I would like to do is start the morning. I want to say good morning to everybody. Thank you for joining us at Intellectual Points Virtual Veteran Job Fair. On today's agenda, what we have is we have several companies that we work with and have partnered with to make finding a job much easier for you in the marketplace. And the people that we have here are Jordy Kern, Dave Naraki, AJ Belch, Dustin Weinberg, Caitlin Westbrook, and my mentor and CEO, Krem. So when you're speaking to each of the people today, there are a couple of things that we want to do. We want to address where you're located. If you're located in one position and you plan on moving, just articulate that with us. Are you open to relocating to a position? And are you looking to work remote? We have several companies that have partnered with us, and we have a bunch of other companies that we work with on a regular basis to staff all of you into positions. Some of these companies are listed on here. And like I said, I'm really glad that everybody chose to join us today, because this is a great way for you to kick off your career. We host these job fairs quite often, so it's in your best interest to continuously go to our page, check out the job portal that we have, and also just interact with us on social media. We have YouTube, we have LinkedIn, we have our meetups. The more you get plugged in and the more you understand what we're doing for you, the better off you are in getting placed in the workplace. Now, here are some of the programs that we have available. If most of you have come through the Vet Tech program. We also have the VREP program. So if you know anybody that's a veteran and they're interested in getting into the field of IT, send them over to us as a reference. We would really appreciate the future business. So we also can do VRE, which is the old school voc rehab. And for those of you that know people that are still on active duty, we have the MICA scholarship, which is there for the spouses to take part in. And that gives them the assistance to get some IT certifications to enter the market. And for the Army and Air Force School programs, we're also certified as a provider for both of them. And likewise, if you know people that are eligible for these programs, referrals are always greatly appreciated. Thank you. The first person that we have up is Jordy Kern. Now, Jordy is awesome. I've had the opportunity to speak to Jordy on several occasions, and one thing that I can say is that Jordy is very passionate about assisting veterans in the workplace. He runs a company called 7 Eagle Group, and with no further ado, what I would like to do is open the floor to Jordy.
Right. Thanks, John. Can I share my screen?
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. I want to share a very alarming stat. 4 out of 10 veterans will leave their first job out of the military in year 1, and it gets worse. By year 2, 8 out of 10, 80% are gone, either quit or fired. So why does that happen? In my 30 years in this business and in talent, it's because I feel they select the wrong path. And it is the #1 cause of career problems. When you pick the wrong job and you get fired or you quit and it sets you back, it's not the way to go. Here's why. Because when you have short stints, it's going to force you to keep starting at the bottom. You change careers, you do a pivot, you're going to be going for an entry-level job again. That is going to delay your earning potential dramatically. It's going to make that next position, each position is going to get harder and harder because hiring managers and recruiters are going to view you as a job hopper, and you do not want to be branded with that. Nobody wants to hire a job hopper. They want people who are going to be there long term. It's going to make you feel horrible. You know, you're going to feel lost. You're going to feel depressed. Like, why can't I figure this out? And that's going to cause health problems for you. It's going to be, you know, a detriment to your relationships with your spouse, with your kids, with all your friends. It creates just havoc, I feel, when somebody does not pick the right path. So why does this happen? I feel the biggest problem with the military is this belief that whatever you do for your MOS, whatever you're doing in the military, all right, that's what I'm going to do in the civilian world. That's, you know, I'm fixing tanks. I'm going to go work at Jiffy Lube. And nothing wrong with Jiffy Lube, but I want to open your eyes to some other opportunities. Sorry. I find veterans and service members are very reactive, meaning they go to a job board like Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn, Career Builder, and they see who's hiring, and then they try to plug themselves into those positions. Not the way to go. Not devoting the time to really think about what you want to do. Most people spend more time planning a vacation than they do planning their career. And the reason I know that is because we work with hundreds of veterans every week. We always ask every one of them, hey, what's your dream job? What do you want to do? Most of them will respond with, I'll do anything. I just want to get my foot in the door. And that is not the way to go. You let others select that career path for you. Maybe a family member or a friend or commanding officer who influences your decision. This has got to come from you. This quote applies to really anything. A lack of planning will cause most failures. And I feel that is the biggest problem with service members and veterans is they do not plan for their career. Okay. So I want to set you up today for success because I truly feel each and every one of you deserve a rewarding and lucrative career. You've earned this. You've served our country. You deserve a great career as much as the next guy out there. So first, this is crucial. You got to be confident. You have to go into this understanding that hiring managers, not all of them, but a lot of hiring managers are very eager to hire military talent. You have a huge competitive edge because you have these skills, the character traits, that grit that most civilian candidates lack. You have this training. You've been trained by these top leaders to be coachable, dedicated, mission focused. These are all the traits that allow people to thrive in the civilian workplace, and you have them. And companies and hiring managers will hire for character over skills every day. Again, not all of them, I'm talking in generalities, but I can't teach character to somebody. They either have it or they don't. I can teach the skills. And you have to understand that it's okay to do something that you did not do in the military because you're trained for that. You have that strong foundation. Okay, so I need you to start immediately. Too many people reach out to us and say, I'm looking, I just got off a call 10 minutes ago. I'm getting out in 10 days. Can you help me find a job? What do you want to do? Oh, I'll do anything. I don't care. You got to start this now. Start as soon as you can. If you're active duty, 2 years out, start thinking about this from when the day you think you're going to ETS. If you're already in the civilian world and you're working, keep that current job, but get into it now. Start really thinking about the next step for you. And I'm telling you, it'll save you so many years of dead-end jobs and low pay and miserable, being miserable. But don't don't sweat this. A lot of people psych themselves out. This should be a really fun and exciting exercise that you're putting yourself through. This soul searching, this is your career. This is how you're going to spend the majority of your waking hours. So what you select, again, it's not going to define your career, right? You just need something for the next couple of years, 2 to 5 years. This is not like, you know, our parents and grandparents generation where whatever you picked, you stayed there for 30, 40 years. This is, you know, it's more common today for people to bounce around to different positions. So you need to focus on the next couple of years. Going into it with knowing that the average employee is going to change careers 5 times and jobs 12 times over their working lifetime. I'd rather see you guys be on the lower end of that, not have to change 5 times, but that's average. I think you can have a much more successful and rewarding career if you're not doing it that often. Once you figure it out, what you want to do, I truly feel that you are going to interview with more energy, more enthusiasm, more passion. It's a huge difference between when you're interviewing for a job you really want and a job you just saw on Indeed and you applied because you're out of work and you desperately need something because you're behind in your payments. Big difference. And it's so easy to spot that as the recruiter or the hiring manager. Very easy to determine who's there for the right reason and who's there for just for a job. Okay, so how to start? First, as I mentioned, you got to understand that your military experience has prepared you for numerous career options. You know, you can earn a great living in practically any conceivable industry, any job title. I've met people who have earned a lot of money and have a ton of responsibility in careers you never would have thought of. All right, so don't limit yourself. Don't let the love and the passion for that career drive your decision, not what you're reading online or anything. Okay. So you got to begin this process with what you want to do. Again, not who's advertising this. This decision comes from you. There are companies every day who have openings. Only a tiny percentage of those are going to put those openings on Indeed. All right. You want to work in sports, you're not going to see job advertisements probably from ESPN. You know, they don't need to advertise on Indeed to hire people. But if you don't, if that's something you want to do, you got to go after that. And this isn't easy, this stuff, figuring out what you want to do, but you got to put this time in to do this soul searching, but you got to figure out what skills do you have that you like using right now? You know, which ones are you good at? And this one's really important, where you can be a subject matter expert, because you want to be at the top of your game. You want to come in there being with a goal and a dream of being the best at this job in your industry. All right, so pick an area where you can see yourself really excelling like that. Focus on careers where you can make a difference and have that purpose. You got to get excited about going to work every day. Don't let the money drive you. A lot of people mistakenly feel the money is going to drive you, and it does not. What's driving you is feeling like you're making a difference each and every day. Think about what hobbies, interests, what do you do when you're not working? You know, and then the trick, I feel, is to combine that with that business focus that you want, right? So one of the service members I was working with the other day, you know, he's cyber analyst, and he was just applying to just dozens of random jobs. I said, what do you love to do? He goes, oh, I love drones. I said, well, why don't you go work in cyber at a drone company? And then his eyes lit up. And that's what you want. You want that excitement. So try to combine 2 loves of yours, the business side with something that you know you really enjoy doing. I mentioned this. Understand that those hiring managers, they will sacrifice the skills for the passion when deciding who to hire. In this, I see this every day, every day. Somebody who comes in there with not a lot of skills in that particular job, and they interview and they're, it's like they can't contain themselves because they're just so excited. I haven't stopped thinking about this opportunity. I haven't slept. I'm just so excited. I've read everything I can on it. I've watched videos, I've talked to people, and there is nothing more I want for my career right now than to be a project manager for, a food company. Whatever it is, that excitement, that energy, that passion, when you get that through in an interview, look out, you will have opportunities. So this I find is a really good way to help you identify what that could be, what that first job is. I call it like the alarm clock test. So imagine this situation, right? You jump out of bed every day because you cannot wait to get to work. You're so excited, okay? You love what you do every day. You support the mission of the company and you know you're making that difference. And here's the kicker, all right? You're a millionaire. You do not take a salary, no money. You're willing to do that job for free because money's not an issue. What is that job? And it is different for everybody. And the answer is not, oh, I'm going to sit on the beach all day and drink margaritas. You might think you want to do it, but you will get bored. All right. You want a job where you're making a difference. And what would you do to feel like your life is really worthy, like you're doing something that you just absolutely love? But don't put money in that equation. All right. A couple quick tips to hopefully get you guys on your way. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, get one now. Build your profile. It is by far the #1 career resource available to you. They have a free account for military. For premium, I recommend getting that. Build it out just as if it were your resume. A lot of people have very basic LinkedIn accounts, and that's not good. You want to build this out. This is almost more important than your resume. All right. And you got to be an active user. On our website on 7eagle.com, under the About Us section, I did an hour-long live stream on how to really leverage LinkedIn. And that's a great resource if you want to get more detail on that. But you got to create just a few quick things. You need that great first impression. It's got to stop them in their tracks. This is an example of a friend of mine, and I feel did a really nice job. He did a nice banner that's related to the business he's in. He helps entrepreneurs. Really nice smiling headshot and professional attire with the flag behind him. I like that. It really emphasizes his military background. Good title of the job. Look, he used 4 lines for a title. I was just helping a veteran earlier today, and or a service member, his title was airplane mechanic. And he's looking for a job, but not being an airplane mechanic. I'm like, you got to change your persona. Now you're a civilian, right? So it's okay to emphasize that you served in the military, but now you got to focus on what you want for your civilian career. Okay. So that's an example that would stop me in my tracks. All right. So next, after you get your page up, you need to have connections. All right. And they need to be industry connections. So this is how this site works, and this is why it's so brilliant, is it gives you a chance to really build a massive network of people who are going to help you and people who you can help as well. So if you're just getting started with LinkedIn, what I recommend is just go to the people search and then click the all filters. Start with military, because they're going to be a very friendly audience to you, and just check off past companies. Focus on your location, because even if you're going for a remote job, it's in your interest to build a network locally, because it just doubles your attractiveness. Because now if you could find a company locally that you want to work for, you can work for them in person or remote. And don't limit it to just military. Tons of civilians. I didn't serve myself. Tons of civilians are more than happy to, it would be an honor for them to help you. So reach out to them as well. And then if you scroll down on that search thing, you'll see that it has a title of the job. So let's say, for example, you're looking for a career in cyber in Nashville, Tennessee. Put Nashville up at the top, put your military branch to start. You can always expand it to more service branches or civilians. And then down at the bottom of this search bar, put just the word cyber, you know, and you'll see hundreds of people come up, or dozens, and those are the ones you want to reach out to. Okay, I would strive for at least 100 connections. Try to get more. More is better. It makes you look more relevant when you have more connections. And you want to personalize that. Probably 9 out of 10 people who connect to me send me that default message. You know, if you guys are on LinkedIn, you know what I'm talking about. Don't do that. It just screams of spam. It takes 5 minutes to look at the guy's profile and try to come up with something unique or something custom or personal that will increase your chances of getting a response. When I reach out to people on LinkedIn to connect, I only send custom messages and I get 92% response rate. And I'm confident you'll get that or even better. All right, so just a message like this. Thank you for, I like to personalize it with as much stuff as I can. Even though his name is right above it, Doug, I write it again in the box. Hi, Doug. Thank you for your naval service. You know, your great career at Tesla. Hey, I'd love to get your advice and guidance. Can we have a quick chat? You'll get people to respond. All right, so you got to learn how to be a networker. Most people are scared of networking. They don't know how. They're afraid to reach out to people. Your goal is to build a massive network of people in your industry, in your location, for doing jobs you want to do. And you want to get them into your world. Let them help you. They want to help you. It costs them nothing to spend 10 minutes with you on the Zoom call, but you got to let them. But you have to also add value back to people. All right, there are lots of things you can do to help your brothers and sisters, and I strongly encourage that. So it's not a one-way street when you're on LinkedIn. People will appreciate that. This, I feel, is one of the best resources out there for you, and it's called the informational interview. That goes by different names, but this is where you're going to meet, preferably in person, if not on Zoom, on phone, and try to avoid doing like email or chats. But you want to, the reason I like in person or Zoom is because you can build a relationship with somebody when they can see your face, and you can see theirs, and it feels much more personal. You know, it's more natural. You got to show genuine interest and gratitude. Try to do 3 of these a week if you're looking for a job. They're so easy to do. Again, people love giving, love helping. You gotta let them. All right. You're gonna, when you get into these informational interviews, you are gonna ask for advice. There's this famous saying: ask for advice, you'll get a job. Ask for a job, you'll get advice. Most people, most veterans and service members, when they think of networking, this is 99 out of 100 will say, hey, I'd love to meet you. Hey, here's my resume. Do you have a job? Hey, can you help me get hired? Hey, can you send this to your friend? Hey, who's hiring? That's their idea of networking. That's the furthest thing in the world from networking. You got to go slow, just like you're going on a, on a first date. You're not going to ask the person to marry you. You're going to go slow, and you got to do this in that same vein, and genuinely ask for advice. Hey, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to chat with me. I saw you, you were in the Navy. Hey, what was that experience like for you? Hey, how did you determine you wanted a career in cyber? Hey, what were some of the challenges that you faced? Hey, what recommendations would you have for somebody like me? I'm getting out in a few months. What career paths do you think would be good? What skills, what training should I do with Intellectual Point? What certs do I need? And don't follow that up with a job. That's, asking for a job. That's the mistake a lot of people make. Go slow. It will be very obvious to these people that you're looking for work. Anyway, I know I went through a lot of stuff really quickly. I am here to serve you. Our team is as well. We have about 30 military recruiters at 7 Eagle Group. Please reach out to us anytime. We do office hours every day. If you go to our website, you'll see the link for that, where you can jump on and talk, ask questions and about your career, anything you want. We can do interviewing, role playing with you. We have a talent network on our site. It's free. I recommend you join that. That will get you on the radar of all of our recruiters here at Seven Eagle Group, and as well as we work with dozens of other recruiting firms and companies around the country who reach out to us asking us for help, and we share those resumes, especially if any of you are service members looking for SkillBridge opportunities. We make those, we help their 1,900 other SkillBridge providers out there, and we help them make matches as well. So we need to know about you, so please join our talent network. And that's all I have, but thank you guys very much, Intellectual Point John, and thank you guys for putting on this incredible event. I think it's awesome that you're doing this, and wish you guys all the best.
Jordy, the feeling is mutual. We really appreciate you taking the time to speak to all the veterans today. And I know that you're probably going to get flooded with a whole bunch of people reaching out to Seventh Eagle Group. So I'm really glad that you had the opportunity to share the morning with us. And thank you for everything that you do.
You're welcome. Thanks, John.
All right. Have a blessed day, brother. So the next speaker that we have that's up is Dave Naraki. And Dave Naraki works for S2I2. I've had several occasions to speak with Dave, and I'm very impressed with what S2I2 has to offer. With no further ado, I'd like to open up the floor to Dave.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right, there we go. So good morning. Thanks, John. As mentioned, my name is David Naraki. I'm a contract program manager for the Joint Service Provider at the Pentagon and the Veteran Affairs Director for S2I2, which is a small IT company based out of Northern Virginia. I'm also a 13-year Army veteran. My MOS was 55 Bravo Ammunition Specialist. After I left the service, I applied my trade as a contractor and government civilian in Kuwait in Germany, on and off for multiple years before transitioning into quality assurance and process improvement on an IT contract with the Joint Staff. From that joint point, I ended up taking over major incident response and the service desk before leading a SharePoint development team, problem management, and then overseeing change management, configuration management, procurements, logistics teams before I end up in my current position. I mention all this because if I can do this, so can you. I think that Jordy hit it off right, that you just have to know the direction that you want to go. I think as he said, veterans coming out of the military, we often don't have that focus, but you need to take the time and kind of look at the different directions you want to go. Because the last thing I want to hear as a hiring manager is like, I'm just looking for a job. And it's like, okay, dude, I got jobs. I need to know what direction you want to go. So we want to invest in you as a person as much as you want us as a company to be with you. So part of my success has been education training, but a large part of that has also been networking and showing people that they can trust me to understand the requirements and deliver the products that they need. My audience today centers around transitioning veterans. So for those of you who've been around the block a bit, just bear with me. I want to first congratulate all of you in investing in your future. That is a huge thing to say, because I know how hard it was for me to decide to make those betterments for myself. So I applaud you guys. Intellectual Point has been a great partner for producing great candidates who are eager to jump into the defensive maintenance of our network, and we hope to have a requisition that meets your skill sets. Even if we do not, we still love for you to come out to one of our networking events. But if you don't live in the Northern Virginia, DC area, we still want to help you find an event for where you are. My first point of topic matches is that something they're going to continually hear from Intellectual Point is that to do the research on the IT companies in your local area and reach out to them to find out how they match to your values as a veteran. It's always great to find a community that understands you, your needs, and your growth plan. Find out when they host their events, or if they know events in their area. This helps build a rapport with the company and gets your name out there, and helps some of your skill sets, some of the soft skill sets you're trying to develop. Another great search tool I would recommend would be meetup.com. They seem to have a lot of great IT meetups, with the expectation that the closer you are to an urban area, the more you're probably going to find. So once you found the event, you have to dress for the event. This is one of the great advantages of Meetup, is that there are usually pictures of past events that help you gauge the atmosphere. My best advice is dress for yourself and what you're comfortable in, but somewhere within the range of the environment. Having drinks at a Japanese bar across the street from the Pentagon is most likely going to be different than the atmosphere at a Google event in Silicon Valley. My next piece of advice is to arrive early and stay late, at least for the first couple of times. I find there's a general flow to an event. Arriving early gives you a chance to break the ice with a few individuals, hopefully the event host, before a mass of people arrive, and they can often introduce you to others as they begin to trickle in, give you more guided introductions to more people. Things tending to peak, for the first couple hours. During the time, try to meet as many people as possible. Be respectful to all. You never know who you're talking to. You could be talking to a service desk technician, or you could be talking to a retired general. Um, Make sure you're only speaking to things you know about or interested in. Don't try to overreach and oversell yourself. This is a natural, it just needs to be natural conversation between you guys. So one of the things that Jordy said is be clear in what you want. Um, that is going to be a huge part. In be clear, say, hey, this is where I am, and asking for advice is the greatest thing. And asking for people their stories about where they came from, showing interest in them will help build that rapport. Like I said, people are more than willing to help as long as they know your direction. Hey, as in, hey, I just finished my networks plus cert and I'm looking for a junior networking position, or vice versa with the CASP in cybersecurity. When you do make connections with people, make sure that you have that updated resume and an updated LinkedIn profile. As Jordy was speaking to, it's very important when I go out that I can see that you're serious about being a professional. And this is just part of the game now. Outside the military, I would highly suggest downloading an app for an electronic business card that you can exchange. I find them to be cheaper and obviously less prone to smearing, with the added bonus of being environmentally friendly. As the evening wears down, you'll usually find that the core group tends to stick around, and there's more opportunity to get to know people on a deeper level, understand where they're coming from, helping them understand where you're coming from. And you'll usually find people are more willing to give you an opportunity when you stick around to hear them out. If you are an introvert or a shy person, bring a friend, but ensure you choose wisely. When I was transitioning out of the military, about a year before I was getting out, I decided to join the local junior chamber of commerce group so I could get to know more people in the local area and hear their experiences. I ended up doing some work with them, and I brought one of my Army's buddies with me who had a little bit of diarrhea of the mouth after a couple drinks, and we were asked to leave. So ensure you choose wisely when you're deciding who to bring with you. My last piece of advice is these networking events are just gateways. You need to have follow-on events with these people outside of the networking event. Go to coffee with them. Again, the things that they're interested in, that um, go do those things with them, or invite them to come out to do something that you do, common interests, to build those further connections. So the position I'm in now as a program manager, I went to go work for a friend that I've known for 4 years, and it was just through building that network. And within that network, um, I'm now working with all the same people that I was at the networking event with. So Any questions, comments, or concerns at this time about networking? Also, just want to let you guys know that S2I2 has a great veteran culture, and we have mentorship programs, we have training programs. We're partnered with Intellectual Point, and we're just trying to get people more training and more in connection with the resources they need. So that's all I have. Pending questions, comments, concerns.
I do have a question, please.
Sure.
It's more like, I don't know, like, how do I get in touch with you guys? I know you probably like share your information at the end of this. I'm new to this, so I don't know how I get in touch with you guys. I have a lot of experience, a lot of educational background in software development and cybersecurity, and I'm trying to find a job. I also have TSSCI with Polygraph.
Yeah, I'll drop my contact information right here into the chat for you.
Thank you.
David, I really appreciate your time and your effort today. I know that it's not a short effort for you to be able to speak with us today. So I appreciate all your time and your efforts to speaking with all the veterans. And I know that they appreciate you showing up today. So thank you. And we'll be speaking soon.
Thanks. Yeah, I actually have to run off to meet with a client. So appreciate you guys invited me. Great pleasure to be here.
Have a blessed day, brother.
You too. Cheers. Bye.
So the next person that we have on our agenda here is AJ Belch. And AJ works for Snowcreek Consulting, who we also have partnered with. And with no further ado, what I would like to do is open up the platform to AJ. AJ, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Can I get a comms check?
I can hear you perfectly.
Excellent.
Would you like to share the screen?
No, I don't have any slides prepared. Just some talking points. But before I get into it, I want to first take a moment just to say thanks, because when my operations manager presented me with the opportunity to do this event and give back to the veteran community, something that's been important for me, I mean, since before I became a veteran, I jumped at it. I like doing these things, and I really recommend that you, as you transition, which I'll talk about, you also seek out these opportunities. And if it's not your thing, like, that's fine, you know, but the information that you might gain, the information that you might share, like it might really make a difference in one veteran's life. And that's just so important to me. I also want to take a moment to recognize a good friend of mine who passed away after like just a savage battle with cancer that was clearly service related. And I'll go into it just a little bit more detail on how important it is to go to the VA and go get your benefits and start it right now. There is never a better time, and there was never a worse time either, because I really believe that this should be starting when you get on that bus to go to MEPS. You should be starting your separation as you join the military. And I honestly don't think as a nation we're really succeeding in helping veterans transition, or else we would just be talking about giving you guys jobs right now. We wouldn't have to, you know, have this conversation. So I enjoy being a part of it, but kind of in memory of my friend who was just amazing. He helped me so much with this. And a lot of the things that I want to share with you guys are things that he taught me. So thank you so much for the opportunity to do this. But yeah, if you served at K2 in Uzbekistan and you have not been to the VA yet, I'm telling you, after this, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to go to the VA if you were at K2 anytime during the GWAT era, because there's a ton of soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, you got it, that are around the 40-year-old mark now, and they're all showing just nasty signs of cancer in their bodies, and they're catching it too late. So reach out and do the right thing and take care of yourself. I'll drop my points of contact. I'm even going to put my personal cell phone. I looked at how many people are on this call, and I think I regret doing that, having that idea, but I made that commitment to you guys last night in my head. So I am going to put my personal cell phone on there. If there's anything you want to talk about, I mean, anything at all, you call me. Like, you are no longer alone. If you ever felt alone, like, you've got people on here that are here for you. So I'm going to put all the links, my email, my company's email, everything in the chat. Don't worry about taking notes. I just hope you can enjoy and listen. if you're at a desktop, just go ahead and open a browser because I've got something I want to walk you through that was really important to me. So all the admin stuff out of the way. My name is AJ. I'm a former Army officer. I got out as a captain promotable because that doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you guys that now, and again talk about it in a moment. But I was a captain. I enjoyed just a really unique, cool career. All really the National Guard. I did a little bit of reserve time at the end, but nothing meaningful. It was really just my way out. But I was an air defense officer, and if you were in Washington, D.C. between 2009 and 2011, you had young Lieutenant AJ Belch as a missile controller looking over you guys at night. And then if any of you were at Bagram Air Base in 2015, I served as the battery commander for those counter rocket, those CRAM assets. We all love those videos, and I love that system so much. It means so much to the troops that I served with. And I'm also, on behalf of my soldiers, we enjoyed this as we left theater. I'm going to say you're welcome because of the hard work that they did. We were the first ever National Guard unit to intercept a rocket in Afghanistan in the OEF theater. And for an entire year, through a mix of amazing technical skills, amazing team building and leadership, there was not a single scratch on American or Allied skin from a rocket attack during my unit's tour there. So I could have stayed in and become a 1-star, and I don't think I would be any more proud of anything else that I ever did besides, those unique opportunities. So, like I said, I'm so thankful for my service and the opportunity to be here. But we're here to talk about transitioning, and I'm trying to give you guys value and understanding some things that are going to go into transitioning, whether it's defense contract or not. Like I said, when Holly, our ops manager, said, we want you to do this, and we think this would be a great topic for you. And I laughed. I'm like, they think I'm successful. And they think I transitioned. Like, I gotcha. Because I just never feel like you really do. Maybe we need a new word for transition and just get rid of it and like maybe start from scratch a little bit. But either way, like just making this leap is difficult. So I started in contracting with Raytheon. I'd left Afghanistan on my uniform tour. I went back to DC, and I was the battalion S4 for the missile battalion there. And I was done. My just like wasn't going as hard anymore. Like I knew I was done, and I didn't want to be toxic. So I took myself out of uniform, but I didn't want to take myself away from service. So being an air, missile, and radar guy, it's pretty much Raytheon contracts everywhere. Through that strong network of contractors and government leaders, I was able to apply for a very technical position, working on those guns as an officer, as an Army officer. And it was profound in a way because that's traditionally a job. It's actually for Navy sailors. I was actually a Navy contractor on my first contract. I went on to train sailors from the Korean Navy on the Navy version of the system. And then I deployed back to Afghanistan to provide embedded support to the units from the 82nd Airborne, 4th Infantry Division, 244 ADA out of Fort Campbell, and just continued to be around these soldiers. Like, it was an amazing experience. If I had never had an idea of marrying a woman who became my wife, I would have stayed over there forever. I would have been this silver-haired old contractor dude just working with troops for the rest of my life. Like, it's so rewarding. But it wasn't sustainable for me, and I knew I had to make a change. I have family in Middle Tennessee, and one day I was like, I wonder if there's any defense opportunity in the Middle States. And sure enough, there is a software shop for L3 Harris in Nashville, where I have family, and my wife, she's from Western Kentucky. She lived in Louisville at the time, and I was. My Raytheon guys don't know this, so if you're listening, I'm sorry, but no surprise. As I was getting ready to come back stateside from my Raytheon deployment, I had already had my L3 Harris job locked in. I was not qualified for either of these jobs, flat out. There is no reason the military should have prepared an Army officer to do what I got to do. But I chose not to self-select myself out of being a eligible, competitive, value-added teammate. And just because I didn't have, the years of a technical experience that a petty officer from the Navy would have on these systems, I was able to show not just what veterans bring as in terms of value to a team. I was able to show what I specifically will give to that customer and give to my teammates and give back to those soldiers in my own way. And the contract team is going to give me the tools that I need to be successful in where I lacked. But I went in with a candid attitude, confident in what I knew I could bring for value, and enough to where I could admit and bring my ego down to say, look, I know that E3 smokes me on technical skills, but I'm not Captain Belch anymore. I'm AJ. I'm an employee now, regardless of how close to home our work is. Like, I'm an employee. I have to bring value to my customer, and I have to make money for my business. It feels like a taboo topic. I really recommend it. It's hard to understand if you're only coming from military and government, but this is business. And especially when you talk about a work environment where lives are at stake, if a contractor messes up, you cannot be a liability to your team. And I don't care if you have a bird on your collar or little mosquito wings as an E2. If you're not bringing value, we just don't need you. And so it sounds disheartening, but challenge yourself to separate what being a valuable employee and valuable team member is from a service member, because you're always going to be a service member. But instead of talking about the things you accomplished in the service, really just think about like the value that you can multiply yourself with. So now I'm working for Snowcreek Consulting. The job that L3 Harris gave me in that software shop was amazing. I was with Air Force Special Operations Command. I got to travel to Texas and Oklahoma all the time, and I got to fly on ISR aircraft that were running our software with Air Force operators, with guys from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and Florida from AFSOC. My last project that I was on before I left was really cool. I was selected to lead the development for our first foreign military sales version of that software to the Canadian Special Operations Group, whatever they call themselves. I don't remember right now, but again, an Army officer, didn't come from a software development background. I didn't have a computer science degree. I put myself in a position, and the value that I brought was applicable in so many different things. So take that experience that I'm sharing and apply it to yourself, and make sure you're not self-selecting yourself out of opportunities just because, well, I was only a Black Hawk crew member. Well, no, you were. And if you're really just applying to be a Black Hawk crew member, like, yeah, multiply that, understand that. But, you have familiarity with communications networks that you can add value into your resume and into your pitch. You have logistics experience, you have leadership experience, multiply it beyond your MOS. So now I work for Snowcreek Consulting. I could use the entire time to talk about this little firm that's based out of Northern Virginia. My experience with this in an already extremely rewarding career with Snowcreek has been individually it'll be noticeable for my whole life. And I'm not talking about my customer. I'm not talking about cool things I'm doing right now. I'm talking just about the way that we treat each other, the level of respect that we have for each other. And there's leadership by example. And that's such a buzzword that kind of drives me nuts in the military circles, because, as a captain, as a battery commander in Afghanistan, I couldn't really be leading by example. Like, I didn't have time or the ability to go and do gun downloads and reloads as fun as it was. Like, I had to go make PowerPoint slides in the talk and send them to the major, be honest about things, right? But I did what I could when I could to lead by example. But with Snowcreek, my boss is one of the owners. She doesn't just run our business. She works on projects with me. She is in IPRs briefing senior government officials right there with me. That's profound in the civilian world. And I want you to take away from this little segment when I'm talking so highly about this company is you might have a big reality check. And I struggled with this, not so much with Raytheon because I was an embedded contractor, but with my L3 Harris opportunity, because it was away from the government. We were only about 25% veteran population in that office when we got there. So honestly, we weren't talking about deployments and airborne school all that much. We weren't talking about that stuff. We were talking project management, agile methodologies, hardening images, building software, C#, things that you will never get real access to unless you have a very unique MOS in the military. That difference in leadership styles from the military world to the civilian world, even within contracting, is going to be different, I promise you. And in your first job out of boots, you may feel like I'm lost. Like I learned nothing from my leadership experience in the military because it is not the same. That's okay. You did. Like, give yourself time. Your first 6 months, your first year of a new job, your first like real job outside of the uniform, it's incredibly difficult. So temper your expectations a little bit. Go in with just a positive attitude. And from a civilian and a business, I have an MBA from University of Cincinnati that I'm very proud of. And it's helped me so much, but learn how civilian organizations run themselves and the difference between, a functional manager and a technical lead. In my current role, I don't have any kind of administrative oversight onto the engineers that I get to partner with. I am basically a tasker, and I work with contractors from all different companies. I don't write their evaluations. I'm not doing, the NCOER, OER part. I don't worry about their HR readiness. Like, I had to unlock my mind of things I normally was used to worrying about with soldiers and taking care of my organization that you don't have to in the civilian world. Like, you're really allowed to focus on your job. And that was hard for me to transition to. I was used to, hey, I'm trying to learn my job that I know I'm going to have for like a year or two. And then I'm going to get a new job somewhere else in the battalion or the brigade, and I'm going to have to repeat it again. You become good at that in the military, but in the civilian world, it's not like that. You're going to have folks that have done the same job for 7, 8, 10, 20 plus years. I just got off the phone with one of the amazing network engineers I get to work with at Joint Service Provider, one of my major customers, David, who's just speaking. He also supports the same customer as I do. And Rodney Mcrae is this engineer's name. He's worked for Joint Service Provider in Northern Virginia since 2002. I was 17. So I am not his boss, but he works alongside me. And I do have to task him. We need him. I need him. And I have to help him be able to do his job. It's very similar to a battery commander, actually. I wasn't the guy that got to turn wrenches all the time that I wanted, but I had to make sure I was enabling other people to do so. So temper your expectations with that. So Snowcreek, we are all about helping our federal partners just maximize their technology opportunity. And we do that through a mix of project management assets, project managers such as me, different types of tools, methodologies. Right now, I'm helping lead a agile transformation for the Pentagon's IT department and how we can do things in better, more adaptable ways. We provide cybersecurity options for customers that can enhance the security of their networks, expand the capabilities of existing systems, and it's great. A lot of similar things to what David just said, but it all comes down to just like this amazing team that Snowcreek has built. So I'm going to put the link to jobs and the company information in that chat once I'm done running my mouth here for you guys. And please reach out to us. Like we want to talk to you. And even if it's not like directly related to a role, let us be here for you to help you expand your web. So yeah, the customer is high demand. This is the most demanding customer I worked for. And I thought that my L3 Harris one would have been because it was Air Force Special Ops Command there. So it is a difficult experience sometimes, and it is Northern Virginia government work. So there's processes. If I would have took this job right out of the military, I wouldn't have lasted 3 months. I would not have lasted. So a fresh senior captain ready to go be an S3 or a battalion XO, I would have washed out. I was not mentally or emotionally up to the task of going from a combat zone commander who could make a GS-15's life real tough. I mean, I had to fire contractors in that role to now, like I said, I'm just AJ. So they have high standards and they have high expectations. They don't care that I was a battery commander in Afghanistan. It will not save me from poor performance or low value work. And I'm not bothered by that because I know that the work that I'm doing, it's actually going right back to help me too. So I am being a little selfish in my work every day. my wife she's about to be a GS-13. She's a government employee. I hear projects going on right next to me that are for the government retirement benefits portal. I got kind of a personal interest in seeing that succeed, and in seeing these teams get staffed well, and in seeing my co-PMs succeed. I will be enjoying the benefits of their work. I better be, hon, in 20, 30 years. I want those systems to work. And my dad's an Army retiree. My grandpa was, my great-grandpa was. I want them to have that. So it's not just about delivering value as an employee in that sense. It is a call to service still for me. So I appreciate the customers' expectations and the standards that they put on, because I will benefit from them, and you will too if you get into contracting. So remember that. If you go straight to the commercial world, that's great too. You may have a harder time being able to find those emotional connections, but I recommend that if you want to get away from contracting, you want to get away from DoD, is find a organization that maybe you fit into the culture, maybe you don't. Maybe you're on site or maybe you're remote. It really doesn't matter. But if you find an organization that is delivering a product, a value, a service that you can connect to, it's going to mean a lot, because I think that there's a big difference between the motivation to serve in uniform and then in the civilian world. And you may not be as fulfilled, even if you're in contracting. And it's so hard to process that, because I think you expect like, hey, I'm going to do great in the civilian world because I was a top block officer. Well, a lot of it comes from that motivation you had to serve, and you got to self-replace that now. You don't have a first sergeant, to make sure you're getting your workouts in and not just sitting in the TOC all night long watching a radar screen. You're going to have a lot more individual accountability that the military, it prevents you from having to have, the battle buddy that we all had since basic training. But even, I don't care if you're 06 on the line right now, you had an E9 to the end of your career, and the E9 had a senior officer. You didn't fly solo in the military, and you may find yourself feeling like that afterwards. So find an emotional motivator to keep you connected to your work, and find that kind of support system, because it's not just always going to be given to you in the civilian world. I'm going to have to skip through a lot of my stuff that I wanted to talk about, but excuse me, sorry, I'm just going to skip because we talked about those VA benefits. Dustin, who speaks after me, is going to talk about resume stuff. And it's really important. I reached out to him just because he was speaking after me and I didn't want to go into resume work, but I strongly recommend, and if Dustin's cool with putting his LinkedIn in the chat or whatever, his LinkedIn is so well done. When I scrolled through it just to send him a message like, hey man, I want to talk about, the event that we're supporting, I could not tell that his military experience was just military experience. Like, he wrote it in a way where I was like, oh yeah, he was an Air Force recruiter. No wonder he's a VP for HR and hiring now. Like, that's a really nice, transition. But go check out his LinkedIn and learn how he kind of civilianized it. The one thing I want to use the last bit of my time for, that because I think it's important, is a website. I learned this in my MBA program, studying human resource management and hiring operations, things like that. It's a website called onetonline.org. And there is a mirrored website called mynextmove.org. They are tailoring a section of their website. I'm going to say software, just interchangeably. I'm talking about the website. But their software, they have a feature where you can choose your branch of service and put in your MOS. And I need to grab a note real quick. So like you could say, I was a 14 Alpha. And it's funny because when you put in a 14 Alpha, their job translator pretty much told me, like, you're going to be a security guard. It never told me, I was like, hey, officer, hey, how about project management? Kind of generic and happened a lot in the past, but yeah, I was supposed to be a security guard according to his website. But so take those for a grain of salt. But what I really want you to use the tool for is to learn about salary expectations too, and the current dollar value of your enlistment or your officer contract, whatever. So onetonline.org will allow you to find a job and job codes, which is very important in contracting. We can talk about that in the next session we do for this. But it's going to let you know, like, what should I expect to talk about for my salary? And so I'm going to do this real quick, and it'll be the final thing I wrap up with. So in our world, we work with a lot of network engineers. And in the Army, that's a 25 Bravo is about the closest. You know, come from the Signal Corps world. They may just be a dude that we only want sitting there to reset a laptop, but they also might be a guy that, you know, we're running microwave shots off the Pentagon rooftop with, so we can develop, you know, a wireless comms network to convert SINGARs to a digital, you know, PC digestible piece of software. 25 Bravo is an excellent MOS to have in the military if you're getting into tech. So I'll break this down and then I'll wrap up. So sorry if I go over just a minute or two, folks. So for a 25 Bravo that's stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, near Nashville, Tennessee, state with no income tax, we're going to say he's an E6 with 6 years and he has dependents. His salary before taxes is $42,000 a year. And because of the dependents, he's going to make another $20,000 a year in BAH, tax-free money, right? So pre-tax income, 62 grand a year. Guys, that is a competitive salary in most states. Understand that. So when you're an E6 with 6 years, and you may have been the best 25 Bravo and all of that, in the United States of America, the top 10% earners of similar jobs are at $100,000. The average in the United States is $62,000 average. So understand that half of the United States is below that. This E6 with 6 years at Fort Campbell, pre-tax, is $62,000 a year. And we haven't even started talking about TRICARE. We haven't started talking about all the other benefits that you can assign a monetary value to. So the troops that I've been trying to help and the folks I've been trying to help, I'm not talking you out of transitioning. I want you to really know what it is and understand how these paychecks work. And when you go to your salary conversations, understanding that the average for a network specialist in network is, in Nashville is $53K. You're going to take a pay cut, probably. Think about that. When you're thinking about the value that you want to bring to a company and how to enhance the appeal that you bring to also enhance your paycheck, because I want all of you to get paid as well. You know, think about those numbers. Ownetonline.org, excellent tool. There's probably some HR managers on the call right now that hate that I put it out there. It's also a great tool if you're in contracting, because you're going to need to know labor codes and you're going to need to know salary expectations to make those estimates if you're putting bids out and trying to build a contract. So I'm going to put my information in the chat. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk. And just good luck. If you're frustrated, don't quit. Keep going. If you're confused, somebody can help you. Just reach out. So thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate it.
AJ, thank you for your time today. We really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your experiences and assisting all the veterans and understanding what their worth is in the market. So the next person that we have that's going to be presenting is Dustin Weinberg, and he is presenting for M&T Bank. Now, I'm pretty excited for you guys to hear about all the opportunities that M&T Bank has to bring to the table for you, because this entity is growing. They are a Fortune 500 company, and they have a lot to offer you as a veteran. So with no further ado, Dustin, I would like to open the floor to you.
Awesome. Okay, so let's just start out a little bit about myself. My name is Dustin. Yes, you lose that rank when you retire or separate, and sometimes that's a tough pill to swallow, right? I am 4 weeks into M&T Bank. Call it the honeymoon phase, call it whatever you will. I am 5 weeks on terminal. I spent 20 years in the Air Force from Northern Wisconsin, and 16 of those years were spent within recruiting. I've held just about every position there is within recruiting, hired doctors, dentists, nurses, engineers, in all enlisted sides. I enjoyed it, loved it, but as we've all heard, there's a point in time where my family now has to come first, and the next position I was up for rank for would have put me on the road more than I already was, and the 12, 14-hour days just weren't appealing. So I started doing a lot of SkillBridge research last spring, and I took a SkillBridge with a company you guys can probably just see on my LinkedIn. I won't name names, but I was taken back, and that's really what I want to talk about is the resume stuff and the culture. So My background is obviously recruiting. I didn't come into the Air Force to be a recruiter. They hired me to be a mechanic, and I worked on fighters and bombers on the ejection system. So never thought myself of being a recruiter. And once I got into it, I thoroughly enjoyed it because we really truly are changing lives for the better in my experience anyways. So a bit about M&T Bank. M&T is a regional bank, but we are actually now top 11 after the People's United Bank acquisition in the last couple of weeks. We are a Fortune 500 company, and it's one of the only banks that can actually say they haven't missed a quarterly goal in 45 years. When I talk about culture, that was really one of my big things through my job search. After having my skill bridge and realizing maybe it wasn't the right fit for what I was looking for, and I had to really do some soul searching and figure out where I wanted to be. Never did I think I'd be within the banking industry. My wife was in banking, she's in finance, has her MBA in finance. And so my thought process was never am I going into the banking industry. I want nothing to do with it. I'm going to stay in the defense industry. I know it, I'm comfortable with it. And it's, I know what to expect with that culture because you're working with majority of veterans. Plus you're supporting the veteran or the military cause and what we've all done. So M&T it just happened to stand out. I have two friends that worked there and they asked for my resume, again, networking. And so I sent them my resume. I had a couple interviews, and the transparency and the mission and goal are what drew me to the bank. I had multiple offers on the table. I had to choose within about a week of multiple offers, and I did not chase money. I had some really, really good mentors through my transition. And like you said, transition is a fickle word. I wouldn't sit here and tell you that I'm fully transitioned, right? Yes, I have a beard, but my actual final retirement isn't until Memorial Day. So I'll have to shave and put a uniform back on to go do my retirement in Wisconsin. But the reality is we go into the corporate culture after military service. And what's, I think what the challenge for me, and I can only speak for myself, right? Because everybody has a different experience. Everybody has a different overall just viewpoint from all different branches of service: Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine, Space Force, Coast Guard. We all have a different experience, whether that's within each branch of service or your sister service or just throughout. But culture was huge, and the more and more people I talk to about this, I think that's probably the number one thing that people realize quickly. So, and I just want to touch on M&T. Why M&T Bank, right? Why did I say I chose M&T? It's purpose and values, and it's to make a difference in people's lives. I felt like I was still doing that. I still feel like I'm doing that. M&T's culture and the tech side of it specifically, and that's who I recruit for is tech, is huge. They're going to be the Google, Amazon of banking, and that's their goal. They have a 330,000 square foot new workspace in Buffalo. We do have remote and hybrid jobs. They do have an amazing benefits package, and I won't even get into it because it's better literally than my Air Force benefits package. I get more vacation than I had in the Air Force. The Tech Academy is a huge part of that also. So the continuous learning for local technologists and to create pathways for the community to access the skills and training for the city's tech industry. We just had a tech work camp, a boot camp, and out of the 6 hires we're going to have out of that, 5 of them, or maybe 4 of them, there's still one on the fence. 4 of them are veterans. So M&T is very, very keen on hiring veterans. Obviously, there's a benefit to all sides of it, and we can go into that at a later date. But we fall under the DE&I. We fall under certain tax breaks. So a lot of companies are chasing us, right? And so just when you're doing your job searches, be aware of that. Make sure that it's like I said, the right cultural fit. And M&T Bank does pride itself on culture. So my next slide actually shows this, and this is really what's cool about it: the diversity, inclusion, and belonging. And we fall under that as veterans. So we have our own veterans group. If you saw my background, it's an M&T veterans background. We wear red on Fridays. It's very engaged, and it's really cool to see. that the company is that way. And of course, there are others out there that are Fortune 500 that are doing the same things. So make sure you find your fit. So, the M&T is very big on the volunteer time too. And I know throughout my Air Force career, volunteering was huge, right? Whether it was a OPR, EPR bullet, whether it was, and you really truly learn to give back and enjoy that. So they give us 40 hours of paid time to invest into these different activities and groups and resources. So if there's a veterans organization going on, then through the veterans organization, if there's a event going on or something that they need support with, we can use our 40 hours of paid time off. And it doesn't go against your personal paid time off. It's just for volunteering. So I felt that was a really big indication too of the company and how well they supported their community engagement and their employees. All right, skipped one, sorry. All right. So I want to talk about common veteran challenges, and I see this, and I've seen it in a lot of my friends. And my goal now is so at my beginning of my transition out of the Air Force, there was no support because all my support came from people wearing the uniform. Well, they've never retired or separated, so their ideas and what their visions were are completely different than what mine needed to be. They were still moving forward, right? Like my position was filled before. It's filled already. So even while I was on SkillBridge, they already had a person identified coming in place. So as they say, the machine keeps moving, no matter whether we're there or not. It's going to have to. So one of the challenges, and through the research I've done and helping people, is a high turnover for first civilian job, right? And you're going to hear this a lot, and you're going to hear it in your TAP, and you're going to hear it all these other places. Don't be scared of it. Accept it, and just know that at 45 to 50% in that. You take 2021, it's COVID year, so it's kind of difficult to get a true accurate read on it. But about 45 to 50% never stay with their first position within the first 2 years. They're moving from it. I consider myself in that same turnover, I guess, because of my skill bridge. My skill bridge actually helped me open my eyes to what I was looking for. Now I feel like I fit. I feel like I belong where I'm at, and the culture is amazing. So the culture and potential skills gaps, and as we're talking to everybody here, whether you're trying to reinvent yourself or you're trying to stick within the same career field you had within the service, there can still be skills gaps, and you can overcome them. You can overcome them just by your training alone. I'm not tech. I have an HR degree. Learning about C# and Java and what all these different applications and procedures are in 4 weeks basically is a crash course. I feel like I just took a college semester in 3 weeks, really, because it's Tuesday. So and speaking a different language, we have to be able to translate our MOS and AFSCs. And I thank AJ for pointing out my LinkedIn. Now that LinkedIn is not, yes, I did it, but I used a lot of other people's information and advice through my mentors. There's a couple different people that I'm friends with that have really, and they're veterans themselves, have really developed their LinkedIns to be visible, and it helps a lot. I'll be honest, all the jobs I applied for, so I'll digress a little bit. I was hell-bent on getting into Raytheon for my skill bridge. I had a personal connection within there. I thought for sure I was going to go do that for my skill bridge, and it all fell through. Well, then I'm like, well, fine, I'll just apply to Raytheon then. I applied, and then we're going to talk about resumes in a second. And I learned some really hard truths through my application process. While I'm applying to Raytheon and using this individual's name, like they ask, are you a referral, all that, because most companies have referral programs, and the employee then will still, they actually get a kickback in the backside for a high-end employee. I never received any phone calls from Raytheon. Somebody reached out to me 6 months after I had applied and was already in my skill bridge to start my skill bridge. It took them 6 months to get back to me. And that was a key indicator for me that I needed to look up elsewhere. So I have another friend in Amazon. I'm like, he's applying for me through his internal Amazon links because he can do that. And I applied to, I bet 20 different jobs through Amazon because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to go work for Amazon. Like that's the, let's go do that. That sounds fun. I never received a phone call from Amazon. I had a Salesforce position. I applied for 3 of them. And in the meantime of even receiving any information back from Salesforce, I had 2 other offers that came through. Those other offers came through networking. Those offers did not come through because I applied to jobs. So I am sitting in my current position right now because of individuals I knew within Air Force Recruiting Service that went to do a skill bridge and then end up full time with M&T Bank. Obviously, like I said, I never considered myself in the banking industry, but it is amazing. So just make sure that you're speaking the language of civilians, and they will not understand when you break out into military lingo. Yes, Buffalo, New York is where M&T headquarters is, but there are also some positions. Sorry, I see the chat. There are still some positions in Baltimore, and there are also positions in Wilmington, Delaware for our tech hubs. We have 3 different tech hubs. Now, the main tech hub is in Buffalo, New York, and that is at Seneca 1. They just acquired the top 11 floors. It is open concept. As you can see my pictures from the slides, that is the tech hub. That is what it looks like inside there. So we are hiring about 250 technologists this year, and we have about 1,500 positions open across the bank. So we're hiring a lot, just as everybody else is. The whole great resignation over the last 2 years has really flipped hiring on its head. So just be aware of that as you're out there applying. So really, that's a great segue transition. How much time do I have here? We got 10:55. Okay, so I got 5 minutes, not even quite. And I'm going to bust through this really quick. So resumes, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm going to show you some resumes that have come through to me in the last 4 weeks. All right, so the good, and this might be hard to see. So if you guys have questions on this, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I will help you with your resumes. I see resumes every day. Real quick, applicant, or they call them the algorithms, or the ATSs, or that big monster out there that's going to just never show your resume to a recruiter. From my experience, it doesn't exist. Your resume is going to a recruiter. A recruiter's looking at your resume. Now, I want to show you something specific on these good examples. See how it says certifications at the top? I spend 15 to 20 seconds per resume. Now, if I see certifications that I'm looking for, like CISSP or Azure or something like that, I'm going to now scroll through and see what your work history is. Now you just got me to scroll through your resume. In the summary, you can also put your certifications in there in more of a sentence format, and that's fine. But somewhere at the top, I would put your certifications, especially in a tech role. Recruiters aren't looking through your whole resume. I promise you that. And when it uploads into like what we use as Workday, it might separate into 5 separate pages. And it's just the way that the applicant tracking system does that. So be aware of that. So just be aware of the good and the bad. These are good examples, and I'll show you a few more. So bad examples. So I see that there's certifications at the top, but then when I start looking down, there's no other really technical information in here. Look at some of the bullets in here. Like they're not bullets. They literally copy pasted from the job requisition or the job application itself. So you can see here, like manage loan profile. Okay, so you manage the loan profile. What was the outcome of that? What did you do? How did that benefit the organization you're going to work for, or you were working for at that time? That's a big thing too, is I don't necessarily care unless you're applying for a team lead. I don't need to see your team leadership. I need to see what you did. What did you do to positively affect the organization? Really ugly examples. Now, these are literally resumes I've gotten. Do you think they get a phone call? They don't. They declined, does not meet, right? I can open this up, look at it, and I won't even call them because I don't have the time. I had 27 new resumes sitting in my inbox this morning. And I'm holding about 25 open positions right now currently within M&T. So So you can kind of see the ugly examples here. Just be aware of that. Now, I use this off LinkedIn. This is not my own. I cannot claim this. I even sourced it to Krista. She's an amazing person to follow on LinkedIn. She's a healthcare recruiter out of the South. And so what I want to just touch on, yeah, and anybody, like I said, anybody that wants to touch base with me and connect, when I'm done with work, I always try and help veterans. That is my goal. My ultimate goal is to help that transition. Because like I said, the people trying to help me were in uniform. They really can't answer, and I know I'm over my time. So if you can read these, you can kind of see what sounds better, right? So I wanted to give that as an example. I do have one last slide I want to share. We are always hiring and open to veterans onboarding with us. So tailor your resume to each job description, but make sure it's tailored personal. Make sure you meet the basic qualifications for the roles you're applying. And believe it or not, as veterans, we meet more basic qualifications than you think. Read up on M&T's values if you're going to apply to us. And really that goes towards any organization. Make sure you know their values. Make sure that you know what they stand for. I'm going to put a link in here for our jobs and it's vet jobs. You can also, obviously scan the QR code here, but link up with me. I appreciate the time. Thank you very much. And I wish all of you the best of luck. Please, 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 if you have questions, contact me. I'm here to help you.
Dustin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, John.
It was great for all the words of wisdom. I see in the chat that everybody really appreciates the resume examples that you offered and just the wealth of knowledge that you bring to the table that only comes from experience, and having the insight coming directly from the mouth of a recruiter it's gold. So thank you so much for sharing your time and sharing the opportunities that M&T Bank has to bring to the table for the veteran population we have at Intellectual Point. Have a blessed day, and looking forward to speaking with you again, brother.
Thank you. Same for you.
The next person that's going to be doing a presentation is Caitlin Westbrook. And Caitlin's awesome. I have had several occasions where we've discussed different positions that are open at Apex Systems. What I would like to do is open the floor up to Caitlin.
Hello. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate y'all having us here today. Again, my name is Caitlin Westbrook Tolston as of October of last year, and I am Apex Systems dedicated national STEM advocate. So yeah, I started with Apex back in 2019 as a technical recruiter on the National Government Services Hub in Richmond, Virginia. And April of last year is when I moved into my current role as the STEM advocate. I essentially spearhead the relationships with our STEM-focused nonprofit and veterans program partners, as well as coding and tech schools on a national level to provide tools and resources through Apex to help increase overall employability. So I like to jokingly say that I am your job searching spirit guide and bridge to Apex. Also, earlier this year, we have added an addition onto our team, Dylan Kodad, who is also here today. He is actually going to be taking over our veteran-focused efforts, and I wanted to give him an opportunity to also introduce himself as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. My name's Dylan. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, active duty as an 0313 with the 2nd LAR out in Camp Lejeune. After that, did some government contracting myself in Afghanistan and Iraq, flying some drones. And then kind of went back and forth between a few things. Started here at Apex last July on the government services team, just working to help, get people placed with our large government integrators. So really excited to move into this new position. Super passionate about, helping veterans out. I know when I was going through my transition phase, I was unaware of how many programs and partners are out there. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about like sharing those resources. So definitely looking forward to it. Going to be helping out with our Skill Bridge program, and got a couple events coming up. I think I saw Caitlin, you're going to share one here that's happening today, but yeah, looking forward to it. And I will share my LinkedIn as well if anyone has any questions, wants to connect as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Dylan. Awesome. So first off, just a few quick hits on Apex. We have over 70 branch locations across the US in every major city and metro area and every major market. Annually, we see over 60,000 job openings, and we support over 2,200 clients. And that's by way of either contract to hire, short and long-term contracts, and we do have some permanent placement sprinkled through there. Also, these opportunities are either on-site, we've got some hybrid opportunities as well as remote, but it is also good to just say that please be careful when looking at remote opportunities. A lot of times those remote options, those companies or hiring managers are looking for candidates in a specific radius from the job site. So just plugging in there to be careful about that when looking for specifically remote opportunities. But also through our Apex Veteran Redeployment Initiative, we are dedicated to upskilling and providing specialized assistance to transitioning military and veteran communities. And as Dylan mentioned, we do have a Skill Bridge program through Vets to PM, which we also partner with Intellectual Point on through obviously Vet Tech funding. So if you have any questions or would like to inquire about that, please feel free to either reach out to myself or Dylan, as we'll be dropping our information into the chat. But how to get connected to Apex Systems. You all probably have recognized me if you are connected on LinkedIn through the Intellectual Point Career Pathfinder page. I had dropped this in there and just wanted to emphasize how huge a candidate advantage that you can gain by submitting your resume and information through this portal. Your basically profile gets generated into our system, and you are tagged as a STEM candidate and affiliated with Intellectual Point. That way, I am able to create a hot list so that when recruiters or account managers or even account executives come to me saying, hey, we've got these either early talent opportunities or maybe DEI or veterans hiring initiatives, I can immediately go to this hot list, sift and search through by locations, skill sets, certifications, all of that, and be able to put you guys first. And also, when you are submitting your information and creating a profile, that also gives you an advantage to come up when our recruiters are searching internally. So even if you haven't gotten reached out to yet, your profile is still in our system to be matched to all of the upcoming opportunities. Again, over 60,000 openings a year that we're just getting in on a daily basis. So it is good to already have a profile established. But once you submit your resume and information into the STEM portal, that will prompt you to visit our job board and talent network. That is where you can sift and search through all of the openings that we have posted and sign up for job alerts. It is also good to note that when working with staffing firms and recruiters, most times you only have about 24 to 48 hours to get yourself connected with that allocated recruiter and getting your information submitted into the system so that it's going through to the company or hiring managers, our client. With that, on most all of our job postings, the recruiter lists their contact information in the job posting. So never solely rely on the apply. When you see that recruiter's name and email, you're going to instantly get their email address and to email them, attaching your resume with that, and see if you can get direct contact. Also, you have their name and what company that they work for. So you're going to go to LinkedIn and you're also going to connect with them there. Again, we're really trying to humanize the process. We're not just sitting behind our computers clicking apply, 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 and then hoping for somebody to reach out to us. What we want to do is have that second outreach attempt, or maybe even third, to get directly connected. Also, utilizing LinkedIn, but following Apex Systems and our career resources page. Doing advanced searches. There, you can type in recruiter, Apex Systems, and then your location, and it should pop up a slew. And you can do that for any company, any other staffing firm. You want to diversify and work with as many skills-focused recruiters as possible to up the chances of landing an interview. And I mean, not all of these staffing firms work on the same business. So you definitely, again, don't want to have all of your Easter eggs in one basket. You want to diversify. Also, please feel free to reach out directly. You can go to apexsystems.com/contact us. All of our 70+ branches have a phone number listed there. Reach out to the branch closest to you and ask to be connected with a skills-focused recruiter. Again, and I have the skill in brackets, so you don't want to connect with just any recruiter. Again, this goes for just across the board. If you are working in cybersecurity, you are not going to want to connect with a project management focused recruiter. It just doesn't make sense. So being asking to be connected to an infrastructure focused recruiter is going to send you in the right direction. We have an abundance of career readiness resources. Today, right after this at 12:30, we have Apex office hours. It's going to be a job searching panel discussion. When you register for this event, you can type in any questions that you have, and we are going to be answering them live. Really any questions, pain points, concerns that you have, even if you're just hitting roadblocks. This is a perfect opportunity just to pick our brains, and we'll help you get right back on track. But then we also have, again, abundance of articles and webinars. We've also got a Toolbox Talk webinar and workshop series for technical and professional development. We've actually had Prem on, and he is in our archives. We are definitely looking to bring him back for round 2 because we got such positive feedback. So yep, just wanted to make all of you aware of just how to essentially get connected to Apex first, and also just have access to all of our resources as well. And that's all I got.
This is Adrian. I just wanted to jump in, and I have to cheerlead Apex, and I want to expand on these messages a little bit more. I got my job with Snowcreek through Apex, and it's not because I knew about Snowcreek's needs before reaching out to them. I added their recruiters on LinkedIn. I sent them my resume and I literally said, tell me what you guys think. Here's what I do. Here's what I want to do. Help me. And Apex put me to Snowcreek first call. Like they nailed about what my needs were and what kind of place I was looking for. So I'm telling you, not just because we're partnering on this call, it works. Go use Apex.
Thanks so much, AJ. I appreciate you.
Caitlin, thank you so much for sharing everything with us today. And if one vein of truth that comes through everything that was presented to you today is that networking is of the utmost importance. So when you reach out, you want to make sure that you're making real connections, and you want to make sure that you're making genuine conversations to add to the structures that you're looking to go to, or the infrastructure that you're looking to add value to. And with that being said, what I want to do is I want to open the floor up to Prem. And like I said before, Prem is not only a mentor to me, he's the CEO of Intellectual Point. And every time that he's in the room, I learn something. So with no further ado, I would like to open the floor up to Prem.
All right, thank you, John. All right, so what a wonderful words of wisdom from so many speakers since morning. I hope you guys are learning some really cool and important things to do as you start embarking into your journey for your next career shift, right? So what I want to do is in the next few minutes, I want to walk you through some of the trends in the job market, and then I want to open up the job board that we have. With you may be wondering, this is a job fair, but where are the jobs, right? So I'm going to give you the link where you can go in and look at hundreds of jobs from all these wonderful companies and many others that we are continuously updating. But before I start, there is an article I read yesterday. So everybody keeps talking about gloom and doom and all this, like, oh, we are going into recession and nobody's hiring. But look at these articles. This is yesterday on CNBC. They are saying triple salaries, big bonuses, on-the-spot offers. Recruiters are going to extreme lengths to hire. And when people tell me that, oh, we are not getting jobs, or I don't have anybody calling me, so this article contradicts that, right? And I was reading through it and I was like, okay, is there any truth to it? So if you check it out, it was on CNBC yesterday, this article, but they are talking about how many people are quitting their jobs and so many people are shifting their career. So this is not like something unusual that somebody does in their career. There are a lot of people who just get tired of like what they do and they are moving into they were saying they are moving into IT and cyber and all this because there is a lot of demand. It is very interesting. It's not boring. It's not affected by COVID. In fact, it's the opposite. The cybersecurity market is very, very strong, and cloud computing. And so there is a massive shift happening. So which is good and bad. The good is that there are so many jobs, and the bad is that now many people are looking to get into that. So you have competition. So you have to be absolutely best in when you put your resume out there and when you are talking to recruiters. But there is 11 million openings that they are trying to fill. And what they are saying, you should read this article. I can send you the link, but they are putting bonuses in front of the right people. The key is the right people. They won't hire just any people they can get, but if you have the right credentials, like which you all do, if you have a good resume, you have some nice experience, it doesn't have to be technical experience. It could be management, project management, it could be program management. But another thing that I saw is you have 4 to 8 seconds to catch the candidate's attention, whether they are looking actively or passively, right? So the way the recruiters also look at you and is they only give you like 10, 15 seconds per resume, but it's the opposite now. Even people, when they are looking for jobs, they are like, okay, tell me how much you're going to pay me and what kind of position it is. And I don't have time to sit there for 1 hour trying to research your company. So there is a lot of good news here. I mean, if you look at this, if there's any grain of truth to this, which is what you should be at the right. If you are at the right place with the right resume and right credentials, not only you could get a job, but you could negotiate some really good pay, which is exactly what you should be doing with your credentials that you got. So let's talk about what are the fields that are extremely hot from IT perspective. I've been in the IT industry 20 years, so I have seen a lot of transitions in the market, but these are the 6 buckets that you will see are very strong, both in the government, public sector, and private sector, right? Cloud computing is big, right? Especially government agencies, they are handing out billions of dollars of contracts to the system integrators for moving to the cloud, right? And this is not going to go away anytime. So if you graduated in a cloud architect pathway, with your AWS, Azure, and all that, you have very strong demand for that. Cyber is near and dear to me. I mean, cyber is so big. I mean, you can talk about zero-day attacks, you can talk about zero trust, you can secure supply chain, advanced authentication, CMMC. There is so many areas like within cyber, incident response. So when you are applying for cyber jobs, again, as you heard in the beginning, don't just say, I want any job. You need to be very clear what you are going to go for. Otherwise, people lose interest and they'll be like, okay, the guy just wants a job. He just wants a paycheck. There is no passion. There is no direction. There is no focus. So you have to do your due diligence and you say, okay, within cyber, you know what really interests me? I want to be a SOC analyst because I have a very good analytical mind. Or I want to be an incident responder. I want to be a risk analyst. I mean, so many titles. So you have to do some due diligence at the beginning and you have to orient your resume to that. Data analytics, right? Big data. You have been hearing about big data. So a lot of agencies and customers and corporations are dealing with influx of massive amounts of data. Like think about all the unstructured data coming from devices, from the satellites, from the geospatial data, tweets, and all the social media and open source intelligence. They just can't keep up with it. So if you have something in your resume related to data analytics, you could easily get a job. I mean, this is not even cyber. It could be any data, compliance data, financial data, audit data, right? I mean, any place you look at, I mean, this is a common problem. Customers just are drowning and they need help. They need data scientists. They need data analysts. They need people who understand tools like Splunk and Tableau and Alteryx and all that. These are commercial tools that deal with big data. Data center, if you live in the Washington, DC, Virginia area, if you are in near Ashburn, you must have seen those massive data centers being constructed everywhere, right? I mean, Northern Virginia is like the hub of the data centers in the world, right? And there are so many of them. Everybody from Amazon to Apple to Facebook to government agencies, they have massive hiring where you can go work in a data center as a storage expert, a server, a cloud, a help desk. So help desk is a very good way to launch your career in the data center, right? You can get to learn some cool technology and then you can move into cyber, which is not bad because I get people asking me, Prem, I have all these certs, but nobody's hiring me for a cybersecurity position. I said, what are you getting calls for? They are help desk in a data center. I would say, take it. You will learn so much, all this new technology. And once you have maybe 6 months, 1 year under your belt with help desk, and you have all your certs like SEC plus, CEH, all Splunk, you can easily transition into cyber. In fact, they will prefer to take you in that role because you have been in the help desk role and you have seen lots of problems. You are good at troubleshooting. You are good at analyzing the issues, working with customers. So that is a great launch pad. Artificial intelligence and robotic process automation are now the future, right? That is coming. It is going to be massive disruption to everybody's jobs, and artificial intelligence is going to penetrate into every aspect of life. And federal government is already spending billions of dollars trying to hire people who understand AI and ML and robotic process automation, that they can bring that intelligence to the government agencies. And network modernization, there is always need to update the network because we have so much legacy equipment within, especially the federal government and corporations, they are looking to update, and there are always need for network engineers, system admins. And so if you are coming from a system admin pathway or a network admin pathway, you have some amazing opportunities in front of you, especially if you know technologies like Cisco and Juniper and some of that. So these are the 6 buckets. I mean, this is the entire, pretty much the IT market. I haven't put any software here because that is a separate bucket here, software developers and, full stack developers, which is another area. So what is happening with the pandemic? If you notice, there is a lot of job loss in the last 2 years. I mean, there have been millions of jobs that have gone away, especially in the food and beverage and clothing and retail stores and e-commerce and automobile services and hospitality. I mean, if you have talked to people around you, they'll be like, oh yes, I had a job and I no longer have that job because the store shut down, or that company is no longer in business, or they went completely virtual. So that is going to happen. So I always advise my students is, don't just become comfortable in what you do. You have to always think every single day, is this job going to go away? Is this going to get outsourced? Is this going to get automated? And am I adding a lot of value? Can the machines take over this job? Can the machines do this? Like, for example, if you are a cashier at a store, those jobs are at very high risk because the way the automation is happening. Look at Amazon with their Amazon Go stores that they started in Seattle. There is no human required for checking out any of your stuff. If you are in a store, you can literally scan your phone, you pick what you want, and you leave the store. So if you were sitting there and got shocked, like, where did my job go? This was coming. They didn't do it overnight, but you heard about it, and it's going to affect you. So you need to quickly move away from those jobs, and you need to start asking yourself, which is the high value job that I can go for, which cannot be automated that fast, which machines cannot take over, and they always need humans, like cybersecurity analyst. You can't have a machine completely take over, right? Because it requires so much of analytical mind and knowledge to understand when there is an incident, when there is a breach. Or if you are working in cloud migration, you cannot migrate to the cloud automatically. You need those architects who can design and help the customers take the applications and workloads to the cloud. It is a long effort, like multi-year effort. So what is the way you can be successful is there. People ask me, Prem, what if I don't have a 4-year college degree? The good news is you don't need to worry about that, because nowadays the hiring managers, they will tell you, like, look, if you don't have a 4-year college degree, for almost 75 to 80% of the roles, it's not a big deal, because as long as you have some micro credentials, right, and you have certifications like Security Plus, Ethical Hacking, AWS, CISSP, these carry a lot of weight. I have even seen people with a college degree not getting any offers, and people without a college degree with these credentials, with a top resume, are getting interviews, are getting placed. So I'm not saying the college degrees are not important. I have multiple college degrees myself, but nowadays that is not as critical as having micro credentials. So here is evidence. You say, but Prem, how do you base that? Like, people don't ask for college degree. Just have to go online and look up all the big companies, right? Teslas of the world, IBM, Random House, Penguin, Netflix, Google, Bank of America, Apple, Hilton. I can give you multiple articles where they have clearly mentioned that we are not sitting there and waiting for people to come and show us their 4-year college degree. If you have the right skills, you have the right attitude, right aptitude, and you have the right micro credentials, you are ready to be employed. We are not going to sit there and wait for you to get your 4-year. In fact, we don't even care if you have that. I mean, just think about it. People say, no, Prem, that's not true. I'll give you an example. The cybersecurity attacks are happening as we speak, right? You have heard about President Joe Biden mention that, look, US companies, you guys are at risk. Our infrastructure is at risk with all the things happening in Russia and Ukraine. So companies are concerned today. They are not going to wait 2 years for you to complete the college degree and say, oh, I need to hire you as a cybersecurity analyst. They need to ramp up their workforce today. In fact, they're already late. if you see the news, how many ransomware attacks happen? Every 11 seconds, there is a ransomware attack. So all it will take is one mistake and you didn't pay attention and somebody's in your network and it will cost you millions of dollars and you are in the news on the front page of Washington Post that your company was breached, and no CEO wants that, right? So if you have to be very practical, if you have the practical skills and you have all the right credentials, you don't need to wait. You can go talk to people, you can connect them on LinkedIn, and trust me, people will hire you even if they don't have the job openings. They know that you have the right skills and you can help them. They will open up that position. I have seen actually hiring managers do that. They're like, hey, this is a fantastic candidate. I don't want to lose this guy. He has a clearance. He has top secret SCI. He has security plus, ethical hacking. He may not have worked in cyber, but man, we don't want to lose this guy. Can we just bring him on board and we will find a place for him to put him on one of our contracts? Because once he's gone, it will be hard for us to get somebody with that kind of credential. So as veterans, I mean, you guys have so much advantage over other non-veterans who, there are so many organizations who are military friendly, right? And you heard with all the speakers here. So what are some of the top positions, right? Even help desk, I mentioned about that. So if you feel you don't have the right IT experience, you are brand new, coming from accounting, finance, HR, do not despair. You get a job in the help desk or tier one tech support, IT support, technical support, desktop support. I mean, look for all these titles when you're looking for the job. Don't get hung up on, oh, if I don't get a cybersecurity job, I'm just going to wait. Because ultimately what you want is, if you don't have experience, you want to get a foot in the door. And I'm not saying you rush and take any job, but if it lets you learn on the job and that skill is transferable to your cybersecurity, why not take it, right? So that way you can get a paycheck coming in, you get the experience, and you are already in the field in IT, and now you can transition. In fact, I have had so many students who actually went and worked for a company, a big company. They started in help desk and they didn't even have to look outside. Within 6 months to 1 year, they were able to move to another cybersecurity position within the same company. Because think about, like, if you work for Apex or any of the other like GDIT and CACI, I mean, these companies have massive contracts and they are always looking for people. So once you are inside the company and you are in one department, one group, it is very easy to talk to other hiring managers and you don't even have to leave the company. And they already know you, so you're a known entity. So they are not taking a new risk. They're like, wow, this guy is really solid. I mean, they get the reviews from your manager. So think about that way, how you could transition into your dream job when you don't get it right away. Within cybersecurity, there are multiple positions, right? There is entry level, there's individual contributors, there's management, director, vice president, and the ultimate position is chief security officer. So if you are in cyber, I mean, you have to know your path. What are you going to be doing 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road? I get upset when I ask people, what is your vision? Where do you see yourself in 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years? And they're like, you know, Prem, I have never thought about that. I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. I mean, I feel really upset. Like, how can you not have a dream? How can you not have a path? How can you not have a plan? I mean, yes, it may not come true, but when you tell me you have not even thought about it, that kind of ticks me off. Like, you know, as a hiring manager, I'm like, okay, this guy is not really passionate. He or she is not very keen on making a big contribution. I mean, you have to show that passion. You have to show that plan. You have to be excited. I mean, this is what people are looking for, and no school is going to teach you that. It has to come from within. Like for me, I mean, I don't feel I'm working when I'm doing something with cyber. It is like a hobby. And then I love every minute I get, I spare time, I could play with the tool. I could do some threat hunting. I could do incident response. I could write a policy, because I just feel like it is so fun, and it's something the customers needs so much help all the time, and money follows automatically, right? So you need to have a plan. So here are some of the entry level jobs that you can look for, right? Security analyst, security specialist, incident responder, cryptographer, security engineer, forensic expert, security auditor. I had a couple of students who came from an audit background and they had no idea that you can become a security auditor by getting some nice security certs. And they had like 15 years of audit experience. It wasn't in IT, but it was in financial systems and corporate systems and all that. I said, yes, the same methodology and the mindset can carry over once you understand the cybersecurity side. And they don't have to train you from ground zero. And trust me, I mean, those people, when they oriented their resume, they got a job in cyber auditing with the right credentials, right, without having to wait and transition, because they were able to take their current skills and package it in a way that can be transferred to the new jobs. And that's very important. And only you can do that. I mean, you don't expect a resume writer to sit there and package that for you, because I get people like, Prem, can you package this for me? It's like, how could I package? You are the ones who's worked on this 15 years. You should be able to tell me like, Prem, I'm really good at these 3 things. Can you please tell me, is this something I could leverage in my new job in cyber or cloud? And I can help you with that, but you still have to package it in a way that it stands out on your resume and people don't feel that you have zero experience. Because once people feel you have zero experience or you have never worked in IT, I mean, sometimes that becomes the little roadblock. A lot of people don't want to be the first ones to take the risk, and you have to overcome that mind block that sometimes the recruiters have, because they are always worried, like, what if I bring this guy or girl and they have never worked in IT and then they are not able to pick up the skills, and I don't want to be the first one to take the risk and let them go work somewhere else. And that is where they keep kicking the can down the road, and a lot of people get frustrated because they haven't done a good job packaging what they already bring to the table, right? And doesn't have to be always technical skills. Remember, leadership skills, management skills, project management, any of those you got, customer facing skills, those are so much in demand, because in IT, you're not just sitting in a corner and just writing code. There are so many things where you have to interact with the customers. Like, think about the help desk, right? You are 100% interfacing with the customers all the time and trying to help them solve the problems. Here are some of the positions in the cloud, right? If you are in cloud, don't get hung up on as a cloud architect. If you don't have experience, you could apply for cloud analyst, a cloud engineer, a cloud a sales guy, right? A cloud systems engineer, cloud product manager. Who said that you have to be always an architect? You could be a cloud admin. I had one student who worked in help desk for 4 years, and then he got a job as a cloud admin once he completed the cloud pathway. And that he felt like it was right up his sweet spot, which he was doing all the time. It wasn't just cloud, but he knew how to administer all these servers and storage and compute and data centers. He had a very good experience with that. So he got a new title, cloud admin, going through the pathway. So you have to have an open mind and just look for different titles, what you can apply, and get your resume up there with the right hiring managers. And then if you're looking for some really awesome new skills in the market, it is robotic process automation. This is the fastest growing market. It is massive. It's a multi-billion-dollar market. What it does, it teaches you how to take some mundane, ordinary processes that people sit and do manually. Like, you must be working in a company and you see people sitting there and doing a lot of work on Excel, where they copy and paste things, they reconcile data, spreadsheets, they are scraping data from the web, putting it into the application, they are opening emails, opening attachments, transferring attachments, copying and pasting. Oh my gosh, I mean, how much time they waste in this. And it's such a boring job, right? And nobody wants to sit and do this like a robot, because we are humans, we are not robots. So we want something that is fun. But this work still needs to get done. Think about HR onboarding. Think about IT help desk, password reset request. Think about all the financial and accounts payable, accounts receivable processes within the accounting department. I mean, I can tell you so many areas where they have so many people sitting and doing manual work. And there are so many of those people have no idea that they could do something more meaningful if the customers adopted robotic process automation, right? This is a software that automates those processes. It's really fun. It is not complicated. I have taught people with zero IT background, just who are very knowledgeable about the process, and they are able to transition with a course like citizen developer course. Citizen developers don't need to be uh, the people who write .NET or Java or anything. They just have to be somebody who's willing to learn how to use the tool and be able to drag and drop and automate the process and free up people and save money to the company. So there's so much demand on that. And then there is artificial intelligence. I won't spend a lot of time on this because this is definitely a separate conversation. You will see companies are starting to hire artificial intelligence developers, architects, machine learning engineers, data scientists. But this requires a very good understanding of the machine learning algorithms. I mean, I would not waste your time on this unless like you have gotten very specific training on this. You don't want to be going that route yet, but definitely keep on your radar. Like once you get a foot in the door, and how do you start learning these new skills? So as automation comes in, you can continue to be relevant to the customer. And then data analyst, that is perfect for those of you going through DevOps pathway. You know Splunk, you know Tableau, you know all those certifications. Data analyst is absolutely a good starting point if you want to be a data scientist, because you can start learning how to deal with the data and then apply the power of artificial intelligence. So I was looking on dice.com and look for 20 top IT jobs, and you can see these are, and we'll give you a copy of this slide so you guys can take a look at it. But there is a DevOps engineer right there, number 12. Many of you are from the DevOps pathway, so that is a very hot skill. There is also skills in data analyst. As I said, even if you went through a help desk pathway or data science pathway or DevOps pathway, you could apply for all this. There is data scientist, there is information security analyst. There you go, number 3. So all these, as we have been telling you, are hot positions in the with a very bright future. So what is the key takeaway? That look, you need a very solid resume. Nobody can doubt that. And you saw examples of the good, bad, and ugly. So you don't want your resume to be bad or ugly. You want your resume to be top notch. And once you get the resume we send you, after we update it, it is your job to go in there and make sure it is accurate, it is relevant. You're not putting anything that is not true. You should never lie on the resume. You should never say things that you don't have. Like some people lie that they have certifications and their certifications have expired or they haven't obtained it, and they make it seem like they already have it. And that is a very big no-no, because when somebody finds out that you lied, you lose the credibility. So you want to be honest, but at the same time, you don't want to be brutally honest that you say, I have no experience. I mean, you have to just be passionate. Like, look, I have taken all these courses, I have played with all these tools, I have exposure to Wireshark and Nmap and Kali Linux and all these things that the cyber, if you're applying for a cyber position. And that will get people excited about, like, yes, you're not coming just saying you have security plus, because that means nothing to them. They want you to know some of the practical commercial tools. And then leverage your online presence. I cannot emphasize, there is so much importance of having a good LinkedIn profile. You heard the speakers talk about it. I mean, you don't have to be sitting and tweeting all day long, nor I need you to worry about Facebook. But I would say a good LinkedIn profile, really, really professional, solid, and connecting with people. And John on the team, he's a LinkedIn guru. I mean, he can show you, he has thousands of followers, and he connects with some big shots in the industry. And you don't just connect and say, oh, can I have a job? That would be terrible. I see people just connect and immediately like, oh, do you have openings? I like to apply. And immediately I feel like I want to block this person, because all it is selfish. You had no intention to talk to me. All you were looking for is just for yourself, right? That doesn't work like that. You have to build that connection, just like you would build a friend. You don't just meet a friend, or like you heard earlier, like you don't meet somebody in the first date and say, would you marry me? You want to have build a strong relationship. So that is critical. And then blogs, like if you search my name on Google and look for how many videos you see me presenting at conferences, writing papers, publishing articles. I mean, I don't even have that much time in a day, but whatever I can, I always like to be a thought leader. And it is, but you say, but Prem, you are at the management level. We are just starting out. It does not matter. You may be a 18-year-old kid and you can write some thought-provoking blogs that get people to follow you, right? Age does not matter. Experience does not matter. You need to also have the importance of soft skills, right? You heard showing up on time, listening skills, teamwork, self-awareness, emotional intelligence. Nobody's going to teach you this in the school. But when you have a interview set up, you want to be on there 2 minutes even before time or 5 minutes before time. You don't want to be tardy, right? And you want to be dressed like properly in a suit and a tie, and as if you are going, even though it may be a virtual interview, turn on your camera, show the energy, show the passion, show the willingness to solve problems, right? And suddenly your enthusiasm is infectious. Other person on the other end gets all excited and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to get this person to meet other managers in this company. He's really awesome. He will put a very strong note. And that is what you need. If you don't do that, I mean, it's not going to help a lot. I mean, you can have all the technical skills in the world, but without marrying the soft skills, you're not going to get too far. And you also need to do your homework. Here are some things, like I get shocked when people just show up for an interview on the phone interview or in person, and they tell me, please tell me what you guys do. What is this company? What all do you guys do? And I was like, if somebody asked me that, I'm just not, I don't even want to talk to this person. That means the guy has taken zero time to even look up what we do. He's asking me basic questions. Instead, the question would be, oh, I looked you up. I see that you are doing some amazing things with the government agencies, and I know that you won a new award, and I'm so happy to see all that. But can you tell me what is the vision of the company? Where do you see yourself or the company going 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Now, that's a good question, because you have done the due diligence. You did the research. You even told me some press releases that you read, and now you are interested in knowing whether the company has a bright future. That would really excite me. Like, wow, this person did not just come unprepared. He did and he really wants to know why he should work. You actually put me in a different position now, because I have to sell my company to you. I have to sell the benefits, because you are not just sitting there and saying, I want any job. You're saying, I am going to be selective because I have many opportunities, but I will take the best one. So it suddenly changes the attitude of how the people on the other end looks at you. And then phone interviews, don't take them lightly, because phone interviews, if you don't do well, they won't move you to the next level, because nowadays the screening is very intense. Like they will put you through, I had one person, she went through 8 rounds of interviews for just a help desk. And she called me, is like, Prem, this feels like they are hiring me for a vice president position, but it's a help desk. I said, don't worry, whether it's 1 round or 7 rounds, you take a positive attitude and keep going. And half the people in the middle will drop out. They will be like tired. They'll say, I don't want to deal with 7 rounds. You have the passion. And guess what? She got hired. And the best part was, she got offer letters from 3 different departments in that big company, and they are all fighting to get her in their department. And she came to me and said, Prem, I have, in the same company, there is 3 managers who want to hire me, and they have sent me an offer, and which one should I say? This is a fantastic problem. Let's sit and talk what each of them are doing and where you would fit the best, and based on that you can make a decision. So these are all the skills that you can see are required for beyond just being a technical person, right? You need responsibility, written communication, passion, attention to detail. I don't have to tell you all this. This is, pick up any kind of job description. They will not say a lot of things about this, but they are always looking for these kind of skills in people. And that's something from the military. If you worked in the Air Force, Army, all this, you know, you have a lot of those skills. You just have to demonstrate them and not assume that people already know about it. There's a career path map on our website. You guys can click on that link and always have a plan, guys. That is very important, because I cannot emphasize, today you may get a job and you have the skills. In 6 months they will make you obsolete. The technology is changing so fast. You don't keep up with the new certs, new skills, and you don't upskill yourself, you may be finding yourself without a job again in 6 months to 1 year. Yes, things happen so fast in IT. It is unprecedented, the rate at which things are changing. You have to also be aware of DoD 8570.1. This is the chart that they use to get people on different government contracting positions. So if you apply for Leidos and GDIT and Accenture and all the CACI, they have huge government contracts, right? And they are looking for different levels. So if you are at Security Plus, you are at level 2, not at level 3. But if you get your CISSP, you get to level 3 in the technical. So you, and ethical hacking puts you in different buckets. So you need to know where you fall within the DoD 8140 the chart, so that way you don't undersell or oversell yourself. There is lots of resources. We have YouTube channels where we are posting some amazing videos and testimonials and customer success stories. You may want to check out some of the veterans who have gone through these programs. They are actually giving you their path to success. If I were you, I would go there and watch what they are saying. What did they do? What type of things they did to get a successful job within 3 months? We get people even before they graduate, they are having multiple offer letters in their end. So I always like to get at least 1 or 2 nuggets of best practices. Like, what did you do to get there? How did you get in front of the hiring managers? What did you say in the interview? How did you even do that without even finishing your graduation? What was the secret, right? And always ask, and people will tell you. If you don't ask, you don't learn. There is a digital natives meetup. We have almost 5,000 members now, and this is another great way to network. And we are going to go back in person sometime soon. We used to do that before the COVID, but now it's all virtual, and we'll keep it as virtual for some time. So you guys can participate. You can also network with people. Networking is so important, both on LinkedIn and in person, right? There is no substitute for that, because a lot of positions don't get advertised, and they meet people, and somebody who is a hiring manager or influential person, all it takes is one meeting for that person to get interested, and before you know, you can be in a very good company. So let's talk about how do you get to the jobs, right? So with that, I mean, I want to go ahead and put the link in the chat. So give me 1 second, let me get that link. So what we have done is we have taken all these different positions from different companies, and we have collected into a portal. So I just put it in the chat. So if you can click on it, and you can create your account on that portal. It's a job portal, which looks like this right here. Okay, when you sign up, you go in there, you will see all these firms that are listed. Like you can see Apex just presented. They are right here. So if you click on the Apex ones, it will actually make you log into your account. So if you want to check out Apex, you say, okay, I want to work for Apex. What are the help desk positions? What are some of the cybersecurity positions? And then you heard Caitlin, she presented. You can connect with her on LinkedIn. There is a lot of other folks who are working for Apex. You can check with them like, hey, how do you like working there? do your due diligence, right? And before you apply for jobs or before you take the offer, you at least feel comfortable. Remember, what was that? It was the first speaker who mentioned that the biggest reason why people resign or get kicked out because they pick the wrong job or the wrong company, right? So you don't want to end up in a wrong place, right? You want to do your due diligence. So here you go. So once you go in there, you click on Apex and you can see there are positions here, and these are not the only ones. You can click on search jobs and you can go to more jobs. If you go to, for example, Mentech here, right? Mentech didn't present today, but look at the number of positions here and you can always search for more. So what you can do is create your account and come back here, check and look for the ones that you are interested, and then you can apply through this portal, or you can go directly to the recruiter that you met. And like, for example, if Caitlin said we have this many positions, you can reach out to her on LinkedIn or reach out to John and say, hey, I'm really interested in Apex or Ridgeline or whatever. What is the best way for me to get a access to what are their top hot positions? So let's say Apex has 5,000 positions, but what are the ones they want to fill right away in the next 2 weeks? If you're graduated and you want to get on the job right away, so you want to do that due diligence and apply for those jobs, right? So there are a lot of companies we are going to be adding here, right? Booz is another one. They have so many. Look at that, how many positions. All right, so I think that's all I had. Let me see if I can put my slide back here. Give me 1 second. There you go. So what you do is you go into that link that I posted, or jobs.intellectualpoint.com/jobs, sign up, log in, and start searching. And here are some really good links for, I get people asking me like, Prem, do you have some sample interview questions? So I have a link right here for help desk. I have many other links. Again, I don't have listed everything here, but I'll be happy to help you with that. So free education, YouTube, all those things. And if you want to contact me, you can reach out to me. That's my direct email, prem@intellectualpoint.com. And that's my direct cell phone number, right? And I'll leave you with pretty much that, summarizing that, look, guys, you are very important. You guys are all special. You have served the nation, and I salute you, all the things you have done. I mean, every freedom that we enjoy, the freedom comes with a price. In every hard work that you have put in, we are very appreciative, and we want to help you guys. So please engage with the team. I mean, there is an entire team at Intellectual Point. You don't have to wait for me. Reach out to John and Chad and Cameron and Joanna, and there is so many. And then all our partners from Apex and all this Eagle Group and all the other ones, they are all here to help you. I mean, don't feel you're alone. There is an entire team to support you, and you just have to ask and put in your hard work. There is no substitute for hard work and sincere work. You do that and you reach out, you will see success. And for anybody who feels left behind and needs some motivation, come to me. I love to talk to you and tell you all the positive things. Don't read the news too much. There's too much negativity in the news, right? I stopped listening to all the media. They try to put too much negative stuff to make people think like everything is gloom and doom. It's not, right? And you have to stay focused and you will see success. All right, with that, I'll turn it over back to John.
Thank you, Prem. I really appreciate it. Now, I want to say thank you to everybody that showed up today to this job fair, and just understand that this is the beginning for you guys. But it doesn't mean that if you get turned down once, or if you go to a job interview and you don't do so well, that you're not going to do better the next time. A lot of times out of the gate, if you're not used to interviewing, you will do 1 or 2 interviews until you kind of calibrate where you are emotionally, and you're able to articulate where you want to go because you know where you want to go. Thank you very much for coming to our career fair. If you guys have any further questions, what I would like you to do is reach out to us on LinkedIn, connect with us on YouTube, our LinkedIn page, our Facebook page, and come to our meetups because we have tons of information that we can share with you to assist you with your soft skills and your next career. With that being said, I want to say have a blessed day and thank you very much.